Starting in May 1883, just as she was about to turn 40, and 5 years before Kodak would make picture taking much easier, Clover started taking photographs, developing them in her darkroom, and pasting them carefully into 3 red leather albums. From her first day, she was very good. This is a photograph she took of Henry. The first day she kept track of her photographs, which in all likelihood was probably close to the first day of her photographs, May 6, 1883. This is on the back stairs of their house in Washington. And she got better. These are her in-laws, Abby and Charles Francis Adams. There's not much more to say. She didn't write much about her in-laws. She didn't really have to after taking that photograph. Clover kept detailed records of her photography in a small lined notebook where she would write about an image extremely good or a little undertimed. And here's a list of exposures taken at the beach on the North Shore when she was still learning about sunlight and her new instantaneous lens. She writes, number 1, instantaneous, light struck in corner, prints dim. Number 2, dim and light struck. Number 3, badly light struck. Number 4, would have been good if sun had been full out of focus all of them. Boat sailing fast. Photography was complicated then. Clover would put a glass plate that had been treated with sensitive chemicals in the back of her camera, expose the image, develop the negative, then she placed the negative directly on sensitized paper, exposed it to light, developed the image, and washed the final photograph. It was, as she told her father, science, pure and simple. But photography also allowed Clover to deepen her passion for art. The complicated process of picture taking demanded careful decision-making about camera placement, light and shadow, and the relationship of foreground to background. She experimented with tone and style, and for her compositions and choice of subjects, she drew from the rich visual world of fine art painting. Something surfaced in Clover's photographs not readily apparent in her witty badinage, a richness and subtlety of feeling. Like her mother a generation before, who had crafted poetry to explore the connections between her private world and wider realms of human experience, Clover began reaching for what artists reach for. But just when Clover discovered a powerful way to express herself, her life started to unravel. Her beloved father, Dr. Hooper, died of heart failure in April 1885, a devastating loss. In the months that followed, what had been a recurrent undertow of dark moods gathered force until Clover was engulfed by despair, pulled down, in the words of a friend, as if by some unseen tide. On a gloomy Sunday morning in early December, 2.5 years after she had first picked up her camera, Clover committed suicide by drinking from a vial of potassium cyanide, which she had used to develop her photographs. The means of her art had become the means of her death. And the most dramatic moment of her life also became its most defining, cocooning her memory in the hush-hush of shame and confusion. Henry would almost never speak of Clover, would not mention her in his autobiography, The Education of Henry Adams. But in the weeks following her death, he would write a searching letter to her close friend, Anne Palmer. Quote, "My only wonder is whether I would have managed to get more out of 12 years than we got. And if we really succeeded in being as happy as possible. I have no more to say. The world may come and the world may go, but no power yet known in earth or heaven can annihilate the happiness that is past."